Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Got a good show lined up. We got a great week lined up for you. We're going to have tremendous guests. We're also going to do a little flashback to Gator football in the 80s. And we're going to have a little Ricky Nattil, Lomas Brown. Who else we got? We got gosh, I can't even think of all we're going to have. But we're going to have a Neal Anderson today. But it's going to be a really good flashback to all the Gator memories of the 80s. But first, we're going to go to the Titan More Hotline, and we're going to be joined by JC, who probably is wearing his Milwaukee Bucks outfit. Good morning, JC. How are you?
Hey, yeah, QB. No, I got the Texas Rangers hat on because they drafted Jeff Leiter, who I think is a great pitcher. No, the 80s teams, man, that was before your era and before the Spurrier era. They had the best team in football in 84. Every one of these guys will tell you that. It wasn't even close. Michigan somehow got voted national champions that year. Struggled against BYU won the national championship that year. Struggled against Michigan in the Sun Bowl out in San Diego. Florida would have blown out both of those teams. And these 80s players really do believe that they could play, and they'll tell you that they could have played with any of these other championship teams that Florida had in the 90s. So they were that good. And, Kerwin Bell, and those other players.
Well, we're going to have Wayne Peace.
Wayne Peace, okay. Lorenzo Hampton, Marshall. They were just so I think that's when Florida football was starting to make, the initial sounds of better be catching us now because as time goes on, we're going to get better with the right people in place. And that person was Steve Spurrier, who showed up, and then the rest is history. So I think folks will love. I mean, what better time of year right now in July when the things are very slow to have an 80s recap? I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. We got a Facebook Live here brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Brandon says, Judd Fabian's still waiting to hear his name. Think he will be back in Gainesville next season. If people are wondering what that's all about, the Major League Baseball draft, I think they only had the first round yesterday. 3 Gators high school recruits were all in the first round. So those guys are they're going to take the money and run. But Judd Fabian, no current Gators have been drafted at this point. So I think it continues today. I honestly don't know. So
I got a question for you, QB. You have, I understand a few things, but these are some things that maybe you can enlighten me on. And that is when you've got Kumar Rocker, who has thrown a no-hitter, who has thrown exceptionally well for Vanderbilt University, has won a World Series, has played in a couple others, was pitching in the most important game of college baseball season just a few weeks ago. And he's sitting there on the board. And you've got teams that just suck, okay? The Tigers, the Pirates, the Orioles. There were 3 high school pitchers that were drafted before Kumar Rocker. It helped me understand that, and then also helped me understand how the MVP of the College World Series, Will Bednar of Mississippi State, he's drafted by the Giants at number 14, and there are 4 high school pitchers picked before that guy. So you're telling me that now maybe you're not telling me this, but I'm just thinking kind of off the top of my head. You're telling me that, or you're saying that these high school pitchers, you would have preferred to have them throw that deciding game in the College World Series, perhaps, or you're telling me that they could bring more value to your lousy team than a guy like Will Bednar or Kumar Rocker. So somebody's got to explain that to me if they can.
Well, it's all based on they're looking in the future, JC. It's no different than when we watch college football and you see some quarterback that you love that throws for 5,000 yards, and then somebody from North Dakota State gets drafted and he doesn't go until like the 3rd or 4th round. It's just you don't know what these scouts are looking at, and honestly,
you don't. I don't.
We've never seen these kids pitch that are coming out of high school, so obviously
they're not better than Will Bednar or Kumar Rocker.
Well, we don't know that. I mean, there's been a lot of great college pitchers that have stunk it up at the next level and they're still sitting at the Birmingham AA team.
Well, that's true, but I mean, don't you have a better sample size pitching in the College World Series than maybe some high school in Eastlake, Atlanta, or Texas?
I agree, but it's the same, like the analogy I just made up. I mean, you see a quarterback who throws for 1,000,000 yards in the Big Ten or the SEC, the top leagues in America, but then they fall way, way, way down in the draft boards, the rounds, and some kid from James Madison goes ahead of them. You never know. It's crazy. But in the meantime, JC, you need to turn your car or truck into a rolling billboard for your business or brand with the eye-catching vehicle wrap from WrapSpot. This July, mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. Speaking with JC on the Titan MR, our height line, and we are going to be joined by Neal Anderson, the second portion of the show today. So, JC, a lot of stuff happened in the sports this weekend. We just mentioned the Major League Baseball draft. I know you're a huge soccer fan. Did you tune into the Euro Cup?
No, but what a day for Italy. Italia, viva l'Italia.
You're Italian, right, JC?
Half, yeah. England England had a big day yesterday. You had the finals of Wimbledon, and then you had the English soccer team, which I'm sure took most of the attention of that country, playing Italy and losing. But I think it's, soccer to me gets exciting when you have these types of events. They seem to be few and far between. I still don't, for the life of me, understand why the World Cup is every 4 years instead of, say, every 2. It would do much more for me to watch soccer if it were more common than every 4 years, like the Olympics, which I've got zero interest on right now. So I don't know. To me, good for Italy. Usually they and Spain and, Germany and France and England. And then in the South American Copa, you had Argentina beat Brazil. And so I actually knew that because this mattered to me. It wasn't these friendlies that they play or, the leagues that they have in those continents. It was country versus country. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, I figured, you being half Italian and y'all winning the Euro Cup, you would have a jersey on today.
Yeah. Yeah, we really did it, QB. We did.
Yeah, well, hell, it's just like y'all when you win a national title at Alabama, you played real well. So what's the difference between you rooting for your home
because
country,
I don't
Italy?
Send money. I don't send money to Italy.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't shock you. And I didn't graduate from Italy.
We got a couple Facebook Lives here brought to you by Mel. Sandy says, "Good morning, Gators. There's a boat parade today in Tampa Bay to celebrate the Stanley Cup. Are you coming, JC?"
I should. I wish I could. There's this little thing called work that's in the way today, and then I have a tennis match to compete in tonight. That got rained out yesterday. Real shocker there. But Tampa Bay, it's all coming up great. We talked about how great their management teams were of these professional franchises that they have currently, and it's being shown on the field. I mean, you've got a Super Bowl champion that lost nobody. You've got a hockey team that's won 3 Stanley Cups in less time than the Philadelphia Flyers have won. Look at Tampa Bay. They've won 3 cups in 16 years, and the Flyers haven't touched one in 40. And to me, I pick on the Flyers, but you could throw out the Detroit Red Wings. They haven't won in 30 or 20 at least. So it's good for that. And then these Canadian teams, Toronto and Montreal, the great hockey cities of the world, they're Gophers right now. They just can hope to make the playoffs for that matter. They don't win any championships, so good for Tampa.
Yeah. Speaking of tennis, since Stacey's a tennis star as well, Novak Djokovic wins Wimbledon.
Right.
He's won. He's got one more, the U.S. Open, to win the Grand Slam in 2021.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to say the greatest of all time, but you think he's the greatest tennis player of all time?
There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, he's about to have the most majors, or Grand Slams as they call it. He's got 20. He's tied with Federer. Is that right?
He's got 29, I thought.
No. He's.
We're going to look that up.
Yeah, you better look it up. There's no way.
He's got more than 20. He's got more than 20.
Maybe he's got 24. No, that would be Serena. That would be.
I think he's got 29.
He does not have 29. QB, come on.
Okay, somebody's going to look it up for us.
All right, looked it up. I think Djokovic is tied Nadal and Federer. I think I read that. But at any rate, right now he is the best in the world. from Serbia. He has a chance to get
he has 20. You're right. He has 20 Grand Slam titles.
What does Federer have?
I didn't look him up.
Well, he's the one he's chasing, and he's about to overtake Federer. He's about to overtake Nadal if he hasn't already. He is the greatest of all time, and to me, that's how you measure it by Grand Slams. This guy's about to get the career Grand Slam if he can win the U.S. Open. The only reason he's only won 2 French Opens is because of how great Nadal is on clay. But he dominates Wimbledon. He dominates the Australian Open. He's the best hardcourt player. So he should be able to win the U.S. Open, I think, barring injury. He's the best. He's the best. It's not that hard.
Well, Andre says the joke is no joke, but he is not the GOAT. His style lacks flair or style, but much respect to his dedication to the sport, but he is boring to watch. I think he's the greatest I've ever seen.
I don't think boredom has anything to do with results. The results is that he is the best. And, Nadal might look more flashy, may make more magazine covers, and Federer may sell more watches. But Djokovic is from Serbia, okay? It's basically a third world country. This guy has done it all. I mean, he has done it all, and he's going to win, I think, the career Grand Slam. Let me ask you this. Is anybody going to bet against him at the U.S. Open? Go ahead.
No. Nobody.
Yeah, bet me. I'll take anybody. You can have the field. This is one of those deals where I would actually be comfortable with a healthy Djokovic that he wins this against the field. Typically, I never bet against the field, but in this case, I don't think there's any doubt he's going to win.
Yeah, Gene chimes in on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law. The big three all have 20, Nadal, Federer, and the Joker.
Yeah, so the Joker's going to win his 21st at some point sooner than I think the other two is certainly sooner than Federer, who's much older. And Nadal, he's great, but he, I don't think if you line up the 4 Grand Slam events, Nadal dominates one of them. It's called the French Open. Djokovic dominates basically 3 out of those 4. So I would go.
Well, get you a wager with Andre here. Andre says on Facebook
Anytime.
Live he's betting against him.
Okay, Andre, friendly wager. I'll take Djokovic, and you can have
everybody else.
You can have the field. Go for it.
All right. Now, we got a text on the Titan MRI text line from Daryl. He says, "Good morning, guys. Y'all were talking about the '80s Gator football earlier.
Oh yeah.
I think the '84 offensive line is the best offensive line in the history of Gator football. I would probably agree with that.
There's no doubt about it. That great wall, and they did lose a game that year, but as the season progressed and at the end of the year, they were so much better than BYU. They would have won by 3 or 4 touchdowns. They were just more athletic. They were bigger. They were faster. They were stronger. That was one of the best Florida teams to ever set foot on the field, and their recognition should be greater than it is today. And for some reason, nobody at the University of Florida has the guts to do that. I don't know why. But that was one of the best teams to ever put foot on the field, to put fingers on the ground in Florida football history. I will go to my grave arguing that because it's the truth.
Yep, I agree. So if you got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, you need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. 352-400-4550. Call them today. QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. Speaking with JC here on the Titan MR hotline. Second half of the show, we'll be talking with Neal Anderson, a little flashback of the 80 Gators all week. JC, we got the Milwaukee Bucks make it 2-1 last night.
Good game for them.
What'd you think about that?
I was kind of surprised it was that big a win. I think Phoenix wins in the guards positioning. I think guards win championships in the NBA, but I do think that Milwaukee had the answers yesterday. Giannis took over the game, and we didn't get a very good performance out of Devin Booker from scoring standpoint. But Phoenix, to me, still has, I think, the team that will win this in 6 games. And I said 6 games last week. I'm sticking with Phoenix in 6. I still think that they'll win it. But Milwaukee, when they play at home, that crowd and that environment is good. I mean, they're good there. They are. But I just don't see them winning 1 or 2 games in Phoenix. I don't think they can. Maybe they will, but I'll bet on Phoenix right now. I'm still sticking with the Suns.
Yeah, I think the Bucks will top the series. I think this game is going to go. I think it's going to go 7.
You think it's going 7, huh?
So
all the home teams. So you think the home teams will win all the games, basically?
I guess. I don't know. I just feel like that's what's going to happen. I don't think either team is great. I think all 3 games have been blowouts. haven't they?
Well, yeah, and that's the problem, I think, with these NBA finals is that you get these games that get lopsided and folks just go somewhere else with the rest of the night. I didn't watch I didn't watch much of any of it because it just, I don't want to watch a 25-point game or a 20-point game. I watched the first half, and that was about it. Once it got out of control, I just kind of turned it off. But no, none of these teams will confuse you with those great Lakers and Celtics teams and the Golden State Warriors who went on runs. I don't think either one of these teams are in that world. No.
Yep. In the golf world, Lucas Gulliver wins the John Deere
Good for
Classic,
him.
and Jim Furyk wins the Senior U.S. Open. And now
Good for him.
The tour heads over to the Open.
So the Open is in the suburb of London this year, so nowhere near Scotland. They're way south in England. That's another big deal with what's going on in London these days. So good for those folks down there. They get to watch the British Open, I think, or the Open Championship. It's going to be hard to pick a winner in this because you just never know who's going to come out of nowhere and win on a course that's so different than what they play on regular tour here in America. And anybody is capable, but then you could get an American like Mickelson or somebody who in the past has won, or Brooks Koepka who's played well in these deals and take it. So I don't really know. I'm going to have to really read about what this course is like in Sandwich,
your homework,
England.
JC.
Yeah, I
homework.
just think it's going to be interesting to watch. The one thing, let me ask you this. When you're watching these golf championships, these majors, do you like it? Say we had the U.S. Open at nighttime on TV to watch because it was out in San Diego. In this case, we're going to be watching at 7 in the morning.
I hate it.
I hate it. Yeah, see, that doesn't do much for me either. I usually record it because I do stuff during the day on Saturday and Sunday, and then hopefully nobody tells me who's leading or who's done this or that, and I can watch it on tape delay. That's how I do it. But it's 7 a.m., 8 a.m. is not. I don't really get ready for golf.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it's nice to turn it on, but I really like it when they have the majors out on the West Coast because there's nothing better than nighttime golf. Center State Bank is now South State Bank, but we still put business first. We understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. South State still has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking forward, member FDIC. A few more minutes with JC here on the Titan MR hotline.
QB, when's media days? When are we going to get cracking with the media?
SEC media days start Monday, a week from today.
Okay, a week from today. Outstanding. Yeah, I'm. It's not quite here yet, but it's getting close, man. When we get through July, August starts up the new sports calendar for me. Right now, this is the dead month, but it's good because you read the magazines now and you kind of get the names down. You start learning who's playing for whom and what's gone where and who's gone there. And I think I think with just a few more weeks, and we're going to be knee deep in it soon.
Yep. Before we get to, I want to bring up a couple things in college football before we let you go here.
All right.
Did you see where the U.S. Olympic team lost to Nigeria?
I laughed. I did see that, and it made me laugh. I think Nigeria has 4 or 5 NBA players on that team. I don't know who they are, but someone said.
The last time we played in Nigeria, I think the U.S. Olympic team won by 80. I don't even know who was on the Nigeria team.
They do have a couple of NBA players. I don't know their names. I didn't listen. I don't care that much because I just laughed at the absurdity of it. But great. I don't think the American guys really played very hard.
Well, obviously not. Also, did you know we're already at the All-Star break? The Home Run Derby is tonight, JC. I know you're going to tune in for that, aren't you?
Man, if I remember. I've got a tennis match tonight, QB. I've got to compete tonight. It's a competition night for me. But, the All-Star game, our feelings about that, or mine anyway, how it was just stolen out of Atlanta, sent to Denver. But if you want to just enjoy the baseball and enjoy the American League and National League, it is, I think the American League has won something like, 6 or 7 or 8 straight All-Star games. The American League has dominated the All-Star game here recently. And, I'm an American League guy, Yankee fan and all that. So I always root for the American League.
But you're not a Yankee fan this year.
Well, listen, they just lost a 5-run lead last night in Houston when they were up 7-2. They had a chance to sweep the Astros. What Garrett Cole did on Saturday night by basically telling Aaron Boone to hit the road, I'm going to finish this game, throwing 129 pitches, a complete game 3-hit shutout against the Astros, got me excited to be a Yankee fan again. And then, of course, they pull this crap last night, losing a 5-run lead in the 9th inning. So it goes right back to like, okay, this is what's going to get our Yankees going, right? This is what's going to get the Yankees going. They got the Red Sox at the end of the All-Star break to try to make up some ground. They're only 7 games out. That doesn't mean anything. You can make up 7 games in the second half of the year. I was all excited, and then they blow a 5-run lead last night.
Well, that's sports for you. Before we let you go, JC, we talked about it the other day. I brought up Phil Steele. Remember, he had the Gators ranked, I think, 27th in America. And
we talked about that.
Pro Football Focus, they ranked all 130 Division I football teams. Pro Football Focus had Florida State at 65th in America. They had Miami at 18th in America.
Wow.
They had the Gators at 7. Georgia was at 4, and obviously we know the other teams. But that sounds a little more correct to me. And I think Phil Steele does a tremendous job every year, but it just surprises me that he has the Gators at 27.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's odd that you have one guy at 27, another guy at 7. I'm somewhere in the middle of that. I would say somewhere around 12, 13, 11, something like that, is where I'm thinking, knowing absolutely nothing at this point. But 27, no way. Because we've talked about this. The 5 teams ranked ahead of them in the top 20 from 20 to 27, or the 6 teams would be underdogs if they came here to play them. So in my mind, they would, I would think. Louisiana's not coming into Florida Field as a favorite. And so that's why some of these polls are rather goofy. And of course, most polls are at this time of year, but polls are part of college football. I've always said this. Don't get all worked up about polls. They don't mean a lick. They mean nothing right now. It's just talking points. It's just a way to get started on the football season and to set expectations. That's all it is. Expectations change as soon as these guys hit the field and play. Florida will win their first 2 games, I should think, rather comfortably. And then you're going to get an idea of where they stand when a very talented team will come in here on September 18th.
Yep. Before we let you go and we take our first time out of the program, John says on Facebook Live, take this, JC, take this. Gators baseball is the only program with a player, Mike Zunino, selected in the All-Star game, and a player, Pete Alonso, in the home run derby. Get you some of that, Alabama.
I like it. No, Pete Alonso's, man, he's great. The Mets love him. The Mets fans love him up there. He's taken to that city. He's got a new teammate in Kumar Rocker now. Well, soon.
Well, we don't know if he's going to be his teammate. I know, Kumar may never make it to the bigs.
He may not make it. You didn't let me finish. I said as soon as he ever gets called up. But no, I think the Mets have done well this first half, and Alonso has been a big reason why the last 2 years he's been one of the best players on their team, or the best player on the team. So that's good.
All right, JC, good luck in your big Wimbledon match tonight. Don't pull a hamstring. You got to stretch, do all that good stuff, okay?
Athlete stretch, baby.
You ever seen a dog stretch?
Yeah, every morning.
Dogs chase cars, they chase people, but they don't stretch before they do it.
Okay. All right, well, I'll check you on these Wednesday, boys.
All right, JC, take care. That's JC joining us on the Titan MR Hotline. Going to take our first time out of the program. When we come back, we'll be joined by former Gator running back, Chicago Bear running back, Neal Anderson. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, non-surgical regeneration, live pain-free. South State Bank, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Chomp Carter Apparel, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Looking looking for all type of restaurant people, managers, servers, bartenders, hosts, cooks, dishwashers, bussers. If you think you're good in the restaurant business, then give us a call.
Spurrier's Gridiron Grill job fair is open now. All you have to do is go to spurriersdraft.com and fill out an application.
We're looking for the good team members, and we're looking for people with a wonderful attitude that can make Spurrier's Gridiron Grill the best we can possibly be. To apply, go to spurriersdraft.com.
We're going to go now to the Titan MRI hotline, and we're joined by old number 27, Neal Anderson. Good morning, Neal. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Shane. How are you?
Doing good, my man. We appreciate you joining the program. I'm having a great time doing this podcast. I started back in January, Neal, and getting a lot of former players, but it's great to get guys from the 80s because, me growing up in Mississippi, I knew all about Ole Miss football, didn't know a whole lot about the Gators, and I'm learning. I had Big Lomas on yesterday, and of course I've got Ricky Nattil and Dwayne Dixon and those guys. But you're a guy that grew up in Graceville, Florida, which I guess I always ask the players first, what made you become a Florida Gator, and what other schools recruited you very heavily?
Well, I was very fortunate, and God blessed me tremendously as a kid. I was pretty athletic, so I was recruited by pretty much everybody. I mean, there was a lot of schools. I actually leaned toward Alabama because, Paul Bear Bryant was still there. They had won everything, and he came to my house in Graceville, and the city pretty much had a parade when he came there. A little town of 2,500 people, and my niece was just recently born, and he held her, and so he's got pictures of Bear Bryant holding her, and she ended up going to University of Alabama, and people were amazed that he's sitting there with that hat on, holding her when she was a baby. But in the end, I didn't go to Alabama because, they had won everything. And really nothing I thought I could do there that had not been done. And, if you win, it's like, so what? We've been winning before. At the time I looked at Florida, they had never won a Southeastern Conference championship. And that was something I thought that would be neat if I could be a part of the first team that did that. And I think it was in 1980, the Gators went 0-10-1. So most people thought I was crazy, for coming to Florida. And they had what some people thought was a stacked backfield with Lorenzo Hampton. He was still going to be there a couple more years, and he was the starter. And then I think Johnny Williams was recruited the same year with me. And he probably, at that time, was the highest rated player that the Gators had ever landed. Just unbelievable running back. So, again, I think people thought, why are you going there? You might not get on the field, coming from a small little city like Graceville. But and that was kind of the reason I ended up choosing University of Florida. And as you know, we were very fortunate and, actually did win an SEC championship, the first in the school's history.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Who was the main guy that recruited you there to come to Florida?
Mickey Andrews, Mickey and Diane Andrews. And I say his wife, Diane, because she would bake some brownies for me. And so, and they were really, really good. So they were really good. They were good people. The Brownies sealed the deal, but they were just good people and treated my family really, really nice. And so he did a really good job.
So when you get to Florida, obviously, they had the Great Wall, Zimmerman, Lomas, Brown, Crawford, Kerr, that whole crew. What was it like running behind those big jokers?
Well, it was great. I mean, we knew, we wanted to run the ball. And, sometimes, you being a quarterback will understand some of the quarterbacks had a difficult time with it. And, and Rick and Nattil and Frankie Neals and, some of the wide receivers, because, we wanted to run the ball. And Charlie Pell especially he wanted to lean on you a little bit. And Galen Hall, when he got there as coach, he didn't want to change what we were doing because we were having some success. And so it was, you had a lot of people in the huddle wanting the ball. And unfortunately, it was one ball. And I tell you, and one of the greatest that I've ever played with, John L. Williams. I don't know how he did what he did. I mean, I was named the starter, and he was moved to the fullback position. And this guy was an elite runner, as you know, and he never complained, never got upset, and just moved from halfback, the kind of glamour position, to fullback, which is typically doing the dirty work, doing a little more blocking. But he never batted an eye and just kept doing his thing. And obviously it worked out well for him as a pro.
Yeah. How difficult? Talk about that. I mean, as you mentioned, it was Neal Anderson, John L. Williams, and Lorenzo Hampton. I believe all three were first-round draft picks. And I think, you go back to recent time now, Alabama's had Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, and Alvin Kamara all on the same team. How was it in practice? I mean, like as you mentioned, Neal, everyone wants the football. Was there any jealousy there among y'all three?
If it was, nobody let it be known. I mean, I know for a fact, I can speak for myself, I wanted to get on the field, because you can't really show what you can do unless you can get on the field. And, but also in that backfield, at fullback, my first year was James Jones, who he was a first round pick. So in one backfield, we had 4 future first round draft picks. So that was, again, you don't have enough balls to go around, because people at that level, if you're at that level, you want the ball. But I think we all handled it well. When we were not in, we cheered for the other guy and waited on our turn.
We got a Facebook Live question here for you, Neal, and it's brought to you by Pound Hurt, your preferred business interruption attorneys. Dan wants to know, do you still have an SEC ring from the '84 team?
Yes, I do.
Right,
yes, I
deal.
do, and that's one of my prized possessions.
So you play for Charlie Pell and Galen Hall. Were they similar? Did you like one of them better than the other?
Well, they were very similar, and I think that the big reason was everybody was concerned when Galen Hall came in, of what he was going to do and how he would change things. But he was a very smart man. I mean, he knew this team had a lot of success with what they were doing, and he came in and we kept doing the same thing. And every now and then he might tweak something here or there. But for the most part, we kept doing the same thing, same things that we were doing. And so I give him a lot of credit for being able to recognize that.
When, y'all had a freshman quarterback who was a walk-on, earned the job in Old Kerwin. Didn't they stick you as his roommate on the road?
Yes, they did. They put me as his roommate to kind of as an upperclassman a little bit to keep him calm, and so he would be nice and relaxed, and I had a lot of fun with him. So I played a lot of pranks on him and made fun of him, and so I think I did my job. You got any good stories you can let our listeners know? Well, jokes you played on Kerwin? Well, the most famous one, I think, was when we walked into the first game that we staying in the hotel, and we get in the hotel room, and I grabbed the remote, and I'm kind of walking in the room and getting settled. He reaches over, but he goes up and he manually turns the TV on. So I turn it off. He looks around and he turns it back on. Well, we go through that for quite a few minutes. And then it got a little boring, so he turned it on and he got it on, I don't know if it was ESPN, one of the channels he wanted it on, and I would change it. And he's looking around like it's got to be a ghost, something's not right. And I see him keep looking around. I'm pretending not to pay attention. And then finally what ended it is when he laid down on his back and kind of pulled himself like a mechanic, pulling himself under the car. He got under the TV, and I guess he was going to fix it. So then that was about all I could take. So that was pretty good. And once we pretended that he had a call from a reporter. We were on a flight on the airplane, and it was another one of the teammates up there asking him questions, but he was over the speaker, so everybody on the plane could hear him answer. And so we had some fun at his expense, but I think he enjoyed it also. He took it well.
Yeah, I guess they didn't have remotes over in Mayo, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not at that time.
Yeah. So, Neal, you get drafted in the first round by the Chicago Bears, and they just won the Super Bowl. Talk a little bit about, going to a Super Bowl champion team with a lot of characters, man. My rookie year, some of those characters were still playing there in Chicago. Talk a little bit about what it was like going to the Windy City.
Well, the first thing I thought, is I was drafted by the team that won the last Super Bowl, and they had just done the Super Bowl shuffle. So I figured I'd be singing and dancing in Chicago, and I can't sing, I can't dance, can't do either one well. So, but to be drafted and on the team, and going to be there with Walter Payton, arguably the greatest running back ever to live. And so, but, by the time I got there, I mean, my job was to take his job. And so it was a little rocky, at first, because I was the only first round pick as a running back who had ever gotten drafted by the Bears during his career. And so that was a little tough. And I understand he's a competitor, and we both wanted that same job. And, and I did not come in to learn, from him. I came in to get out on the field and contribute. And I just kind of figured that's what they expected from a first round pick. So we had a little bit of a rocky start, and but it was you're going to be around people like William Perry and Mike Dick and Jim McMahon, and some of these guys seemed kind of larger than life characters, and so it was something that I thought was going to be special, and I wouldn't trade that experience for anything in the world. I had a great time. While I was there in Chicago, and played all 8 years in the same place, and again, wouldn't trade any of those experiences for anything in the world.
We got another question here, comment on Facebook Live, brought to you by Pound Hurt, your preferred business interruption attorney. Jeff wants you to talk a little bit about Wilbur Marshall.
Wilbur, the great Wilbur Marshall. I played with Wilbur a couple years here at the University of Florida, and everybody knew, what kind of college player he was, and one of the greatest defenders ever. I think to put on the college uniform, he could do a little bit of everything. I mean, he could hit, he had the speed, and then to be drafted, on the same team that he was on in the Bears, he kind of took me on his wing, so to speak, a little bit when I got there, and showed me around a little bit. But, again, this great player, in the Super Bowl season before I got there. And, and then he ended up only being there a few years with me before he ended up getting traded and going on and making a lot more money other places.
We're speaking with Gator Great Neal Anderson here on the Titan MR Hotline. Neal, I don't know if you're a big TV guy, and I'm not, but have you seen any of the documentary, The Last Dance, about the Bulls?
Yes, I have. I've seen quite a bit of it.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I know you were pretty close to Michael Jordan in your days up in the Chicago area. Did you ever whip up on him in golf?
Yeah, every now and then. When I was kind of learning to play a little bit, and he had a little more experience, but by the time it ended, I think I was the better golfer. And I've seen him every now and then. Like I was down in Orlando, and I saw him. He was there with some friends. I think one was Charles Oakley, but we were out on the golf course and just happened to run into each other. And so it was very satisfying for me, because now he wants strokes. So when he needs strokes to try to beat me. That made me feel kind of good.
So, Neal, when we were up in Chicago, what was the name of that little golf course? It was about 15 miles, maybe not that far, a little north of the Hallis Hall there. We used to go play all day. What was the name of that golf
one
course?
In Lincoln, it was one in it was at Lincolnshire.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think that's the one you talked. One was Deer Path, but that was the one in Chicago. I'm sorry, in Lake Forest.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So Neal, you spent your 7-8 years in Chicago, and then you decided to make Gainesville home. And you started a bank in the Ocala Gainesville area. Talk a little bit about what got you started in the banking industry.
Well, I had some friends that I knew that were bankers, and I had had a farm, a peanut farm located out in Williston, Florida, named 35 Farms, and we had done some business with Community Banking Trust, actually Sun Trust, and there's some guys that I knew there, Hugh Daly and Dave Denyer, and I had my attorney Steve Rappanaker had worked with those guys and with some different things that we had going as far as some loans that we needed. And then when they decided we're going to start a startup bank, they got in touch with me, and I was fortunate enough to be a founding director of Community Banking Trust of Florida. And we opened that up in 1998, and it sold in 2019. And so we had a great run. Every year we were profitable and did really well. So I think I had just a good group of people around me, and so that made a big difference.
You still got your peanut farm?
Nope, that we sold that a few years ago. My big thing now is being a dad and watching the kids and do their thing. So following them and enjoying their sports and just watching them grow up.
Well, talk a little bit about that, because you have some extremely athletic kids that have done really well at the high school level, and just talk briefly about what your kids do.
Well, my son, the oldest, is TC, and he's 21, and matter of fact, he graduated on Sunday, this past Sunday, from Florida Gulf Coast University, and he had a double major, accounting and finance, and he finished finished cum laude in both. So academically, he was off the charts, and he was did well on the soccer field as well. And now he'll go to Drake University in Iowa and play one more year soccer and do the grad school program there.
Awesome.
And and then I have a daughter, Camille. She's a freshman this year at UNC Greensboro, University of North Carolina in Greensboro, and very fortunate on a volleyball scholarship. And obviously, she's they're out of school right now, so we blessed to have her here at home hanging out with us. And I have the third child, Brianna. And she goes to Buchholz High School, so she's a sophomore, got 2 more years, and also a volleyball player with what seems to be a very, very bright future.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And I know you're an extremely competitive young man. I know you love to work on your craft no matter what sport you're in. So is it tennis right now, or is it golf?
It's golf. It's golf, and I'm going to do something that I've never done. I've always played golf and played with my friends and had fun, but I've never gone out and really tried to play on the tournament tour. So I'm going to go out in 2021. My goal is to get my game ready and go out and just play in some amateur tournaments and and see how I do. And there's no excuses. It's just me, no teammates. I'm all by myself. So that's going to be a pretty interesting experience.
We got another question here on Facebook Live brought to you by Pound Hurt, your preferred business interruption attorney. Steve wants to know, Neal, how was it adjusting to the Chicago weather when you went there?
Oddly enough, it was a breeze. I grew up in the Panhandle, right on the Alabama line. So we got a little colder than Gainesville does. And it would occasionally have some snow flurries. So I was used to a little more cold than most, I think, Floridians. You think of Florida, you think of Miami and the South Florida and the heat. Well, but again, I was right across the Alabama line, so it was a little bit different. But once you got to Chicago, all of a sudden, that cold weather became bear weather. And so, I think sometimes the colder it got, the happier I was, because the fans loved it. I mean, they started taking off their shirts and just letting them know, this is bear weather. So I think I got convinced earlier that bear weather was made things better for me.
We're speaking with Neal Anderson, Pro Bowl running back for the Chicago Bears, former Gator Great, here on the Titan MRI hotline. We got a text on the Titan MRI text line for you, Neal. Ward wants you to tell us about the time you got on the team bus looking for Lawrence Taylor.
Well, no, that's I don't know if I can tell that story, but it was, Jay, we had a pretty good battle. I tell you, the game that it was about, it was my first NFL start, and it was my second year, and I was starting alongside Walter Payton, so we wouldn't compete. They put me at fullback, and he was at halfback. So I was a starter, and I go out there, and and I'm scared to death, but the block, Lawrence Taylor, I think Harry Carson and Carl Banks, I think it was, and I mean 3 great linebackers. But to make a long story short, I'm doing a pretty good job, and Lawrence kind of takes offense to some of the ways I was blocking him, because I think they had some unwritten rules that you didn't really cut Lawrence Taylor, around his knees and legs, because that's how he made his money. And so I thought I was maybe getting the best of him a little bit, and he took offense to it, and then he started to talk about my mom and family and anybody he could think of, and just say some kind of off the wall things, and he had no idea that, unfortunately for me, the Saturday before, it was a Monday night football game, but the Saturday before that game, I had gone back to Graceville, and we actually had to bury my mom. She passed away of cancer. Well, he had no way of knowing that. And so, but at the time, somebody saying something about your mom, you gotta do what you gotta do. So we had some words, and later, not later that day, but later in future years, we became pretty good friends. So, but again, it was not something he had researched, and he had no way of knowing. It was just, him being Lawrence being Lawrence.
Peter texts on the Titan MR text line. He wants to know, what was it like playing for Mike Ditka?
It was good and bad. I think we were a lot more alike than we probably either one of us wanted to admit. So we butted heads a lot. We had some very strong opinions and two strong-willed people. And I think people thought, we kind of hated each other, which maybe there were a few times that we did. But for the most part, I think we got along. I know when he got sick, I was one of the first players. I think he had a heart attack, to give him a call and check on him. But bottom line, we both wanted to win desperately. And I think he was an old school coach that kind of coached a little bit through a little bit of fear and intimidation. And my problem was I really wasn't afraid, and I didn't get intimidated. I believed in what I could do. So, those tactics didn't really work on me. And I think that was a little bit tough on him because, I think that was the way he was coached growing up in those years when he played.
Yeah, we got a couple more seconds here with Neal Anderson, former Gator running back. Neal, I asked all those 80 guys when they come on, does it bother you guys that y'all aren't really acknowledged, as champions here, on campus or what have you? I mean, y'all won it on the field, but does that bother you guys?
Well, for me, and honestly, it really doesn't bother me. I mean, I think it should be, some recognition given for, winning the first SEC championship in the school's history. I was fortunate enough, and everybody wasn't, to go on and play at the next level and have a lot of great memories from that time. But I think, there were a lot of people that played here that, again, this was where their football careers ended. And I think they deserve, some recognition for what they did.
We got a final text here for Neal. It comes from Bob. Bob wants to know, Neal, how does your body feel after being a running back in the National Football League?
Well, that's where, I tell everybody who asks, that's where God has blessed me tremendously. He has smiled on me because to run the ball the way that, as you know, the way we did in Chicago for a while, Dick believed in running. Everybody knew we were going to run it. And so you get beat up a lot. And sometimes on Monday morning, you really can't function. And to be in the shape that I'm in now, again, it's just nothing but a blessing. I can go out and, run around and, shoot basketball if I want to, run some sprints with my daughter. Not as fast as she can, but I can run the sprints with her. And so, I am, again, very, very blessed. I can walk on the golf course and walk 18 holes. So not many people that played for the years I did in the National Football League can do that. So I feel very fortunate.
Well, Neal, we appreciate you joining the show today, my man. I'm glad you and your family are doing well. Y'all stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
All right. Thank you. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right. That's Gator Great Neal Anderson, former Pro Bowl running back for the Chicago Bears. We're going to take our second time out of the program. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, non-surgical regeneration, live pain-free. South State Bank, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Silverback Concrete Company. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
First and 10. Matthews, near side, wide open, Alonzo Sullivan. He may go. Touchdown, Gators.